House prices have trebled since 1996. Homeowners overwhelmingly believe that financially they've done well out of that. Are they right?
And is property still a good bet? This week in The Truth About Property, we'll be looking at who's won and who's lost, and we try to make sense out of the market madness.
37 grand?
Yeah.
What's it worth now?
Well, come on, tell us, don't be shy.
Is that equity you've made really a dream come true?
Everyone loves their grandchildren, don't
Yes, I love my grandchildren.
they? But to share the same room as them?
And what about the risk of losing money on property?
When you have a wife and a family, you want to bring them up and make investments which are correct. If you make those decisions and they turn out incorrect, it makes you feel like you've let down your family as well as yourself.
Just as the house price boom may be about to come to an end, I'll be asking, have you really got rich? My first visit is at the very highest end of the market, to a Grade 1 listed home in Cheshire. Its owners for the last 23 years have been Maurice Clegg and his wife Judy.
Wow.
They've just sold the place for a tidy £3 million.
Now, I feel like I should have dressed better and given the van a lick of paint. Hello, are you Maurice?
Andrew, good
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
What a place you have.
Well, it's been here quite a while.
Hundreds of years, I imagine.
535.
Maurice bought his first property 50 years ago. He knows from experience what can happen to property prices and also how much money you can make. Very soon he'll leave this splendid old rectory for a smaller place down south, closer to his children and grandchildren.
Look at this.
This is the Great Hall. One of very few still remaining in Cheshire.
So how much did you pay for this place altogether?
230.
No.
Yeah.
230. Do you know what? I just sold a 2-bed maisonette 3 years ago for 222 in an ugly old flat block.
Yeah, well, timing is everything, you know,
That's
especially
right.
in property.
Maurice's timing was both lucky and smart. He was born at the right time, bought at the right time, and crucially, took a risk. He started in business with a loan secured on his home. It paid off. When the business succeeded, he bought this house.
I spent my whole life borrowing money and always looking for assets on which to borrow it.
Because if you borrow money, if you gear up, if you take on debt, you can make money faster, can't you?
My house was always on the line. Every asset that I ever had was on the line because money is the lifeblood of a business.
Maurice made his money in 2 businesses, laundry and property development. He very nearly went bankrupt in the early 70s when both house prices and share prices slumped. Suddenly, overnight, property became a dirty word, and the bank Maurice had borrowed from went bust.
At that particular time, I was borrowing about £1 million. I managed to repay £750,000 of that, and I was left with a little, around 200,000 still outstanding, which I could only pay if my clearer would lend it to me. And they did agree to bail me out. Otherwise, I'd have gone down the tubes.
Maurice has 4 children, 11 grandchildren. They love the place. Some of them are enjoying a visit here now, but it's become less important to Maurice and his wife Judy to live in a grand old house.
Amanda.
All right, Amanda.
And her elder daughter.
Hello.
Eldest.
Nice to meet you. So being closer to the kids is more important than your attachment to this place?
I think at this stage of our lives, yes, we need to be a little bit nearer.
They're selling for £3 million and buying for £825,000, releasing more than £2 million. What Maurice and Judy are doing is turning the equity in their home into cash for other things. They no longer need the space, so they're downsizing.
Bye for now. Bye.
Millions of people with equity could do what they're doing, even if they're not millionaires. We'll come back to Maurice later to see how he gets on. And Until 25 years ago, the best way to tell someone's class was to look at their property. If they owned it and it wasn't a castle or country manor, that would make them middle class. Renting, you're working class, mate. But these days, it's location, location, luck and timing. One man whose timing was great is George Vasiliou. He's just made an impressive amount of money on the sale of his former council house in Hackney, north-east London. He's about to move. Being popular, he'll be missed by the neighbours.
Jim, take care, mate. Lovely to see you. And hope to see you again soon. Give me a shout when you're down there, I've got work. Take care, Carol. See you later.
He bought the house 12 years ago for £37,000. He's just sold it for a lot more.
37 grand?
Yeah.
What's it worth now?
Oh. Oh, I can't.
What have you just sold it for, George? You've got to tell us.
It was, all right, it was, I don't know. I mean,
400,000?
No, it was more, yeah.
More than that? Come on, tell us, don't be shy.
It went on sale, it was on the market for 565.
And then what happened?
And then I sold it. Yeah.
565? So that's not just 10 times what you paid for it, it's about 12, 13, 14 times what you paid for it.
You're the mathematician, you do the math, because I
haven't done it since A-level, George.
It's a lot of money. I've basically made, I've made about 500 on
it. George's family came as refugees when he was 6 from northern Cyprus with virtually nothing. They were housed here by their local council. In 1994, George took up his right to buy.
This opportunity was brought to you courtesy of rising... the right to buy?
Yes. It's Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher. I mean, I'm not a Tory man, but she done something right to let them, to allow people in the working classes to get their foot on the ladder. But
someone in your family situation, when they needed to rent a place, wouldn't find it so easy right now because they've all been sold off.
When there is an opportunity for poorer people to climb the next ladder, that is what Thatcher allowed. And I understand there's like a big reduction in council properties to be rented, but council better start building some more houses. Creates work.
George has an 8-year-old daughter who stays with him at weekends and would like her to grow up somewhere quieter than Hackney. He's moving to Waltham Abbey in Essex, just outside the M25, where for half as much money, he'll have the same space and a big garden. But it'll be quite a change.
I will miss the house. It's got a character, this house. Sorry, Mum. It's a lovely house. You know, the people around here are lovely. Like I said, it's just... I am going to miss the house, but... It's only bricks and mortar, baby. It's only bricks and mortar. She feels like I'm cheating on it. I'm going to go to the other house and start living with her. Don't worry, girl. I'll be back to see you, see how you've been done up. Goodbye, 18A. Yeah, goodbye, E8. Goodbye, Hackney.
George has cashed in. He's banked £500,000 in property price gains. But what about his future? We'll come back to him and find out his plan. Looks like soar-away house prices, coupled with the right to buy, have given huge numbers of people a chance to be a property winner. But is that really true? We've carried out a poll which suggests more than 3/4 of people think they've done well out of rising property prices. But the trouble is, it's not just your house that's gone up, it's everyone else's too. We've seen that moving down means you profit, but what if your next move is up? Nicolina Luttrell's 40. She lives in Neasden in London with her 2 sons and her mother. Despite having a good job as an IT manager, she can't afford a house big enough for them all. She bought her 2-bed council house 3 years ago.
Hello there, hi.
Nicolina. Nicolina.
Yes, it is.
All right, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
I believe you haven't got too much space around here, am I right?
Yes, that's correct. Come on in, I'll show you around. Well, this computer is for my younger son, Roland. That's where he does his homework and revision so that doesn't get disturbed by anybody else.
I mean, you're making use of the space, but it's not ideal, is it?
No, it's not, but that's the best I can do.
Nicolina would like a 3-bedroom house, but she says it's totally out of her reach.
You own this place. How much did you buy it for?
I paid 125,000 for it.
125,000?
Yes.
That's a fair amount of money. Did you make anything on it?
The last time I checked, properties around here is about 200,000.
Okay,
roughly.
so if you sold it, you would have some equity, some money.
I do, yeah. But it's not enough to move me to a bigger property. Basically, I mean, the properties that I want to buy for a 3 or 4 bedroom price, I'm looking at about 350,000 to 400,000 pounds. Now, an equity of 80,000 pounds, I still won't be able to afford it. Although I've got a very good job and I earn a decent income. And the key problem is the 2nd bedroom.
Yeah.
So, sorry about this. That's where I can hang their uniforms.
Well, you've got to dry it somewhere, don't you?
Right, that's the bedroom.
Right.
And that's my 3.
Wow.
Yeah. That's my older son, Gerald. And that's Roland, the younger one.
Hey,
That's my
Gerald.
mum.
Hi, Roland.
Price rises mean you've never had so little space for your money. Nicolina's 2 sons have to share a room with their grandma.
Everyone loves their grandchildren, don't
Yes, I love my grandchildren.
they? But to share the same room as them?
They need their privacy. I need my privacy too.
Yeah. I mean, where do you put your clothes? Where do they put their clothes, I guess?
Oh, everybody have their wardrobes.
Yeah.
I've got my
Yeah.
my suitcases over there.
Yeah.
Yes, over there.
Yeah. Lots of suitcases.
Yes.
What do your sons think about the situation, sharing the room with grandma?
Not very happy. They always wish I'll win the lottery so I can buy a bigger property so they can have at least a room to themselves. It makes me feel sad because somebody like me in the middle income, we've been priced out of the property market, and unless something is done fairly soon, it means really I'm stuck here for the rest of my life, and I don't even know how my kids even can afford to buy property when they finish university.
Hearing Nicolina's concern about her children made me think about how rising house prices affect the next generation. It may look like they will allow you to leave more to your children, but in fact, whatever money you pass on is going to buy less property than ever before. For the last 3 decades, politicians and central bankers have made it a priority to get inflation down by pushing interest rates up, even at the potential cost of job losses. So why is there this one form of inflation, house price inflation, that seems to most of the rest of us to do us a favour? I live in West London with my wife and family. We rent. We really couldn't afford to buy in such a nice area. But was it the same for my parents, I wonder? Back in the late 60s, how difficult was it to make your way up the property ladder? My parents started out renting like I am now. I've come to Leeds, where I spent the first year of my life.
This is it. It's number 17. Hello. Hello, mate. I'm so sorry to disturb you.
No, that's right.
I'm here doing something for telly. This is actually the house that I was born in.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering if you might possibly let me go and see it.
It's in a bit of a state, to be honest, but
Yeah?
you're more than welcome to, yeah.
Thanks. Sorry for the surprise
No,
visit.
but-
I'm Andy, by the way. I should say.
Jordan, nice to meet you.
All right, nice to meet you, Jordan, and thanks for letting us in.
No, don't worry about it.
My mum and dad were probably the first people to rent this place. Back in the late 60s. It had just been built. And my mum told me, if you look over to the right, there was a single bed, and that's where I was born. Can't imagine how it's changed, 38 years. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for that, Jordan.
No, not much.
Cheers for showing me around.
Don't worry about it.
place where I was born. I still can't believe it, really.
I know, I'm going to find it a bit weird sleeping tonight.
So, when my mum gave birth to me in that room up there, she was 26 years old, and my dad was 25. And before 10 years were up, with the help of a bit of inherited money, my dad and my mum had a big 5-bedroom semi-detached house and a second home in the Yorkshire Dales. My dad wasn't doing particularly better in his career than I am now. My mum was only working part-time. But even with that, just 1.5 incomes, they could afford 2 homes. For today's generation, there's no way.
The thing about rising house prices is they reward most the people who have the most. It's a shift of wealth from young to old, from have-littles to have-lots. I'm off to Harrogate, to an area so desirable, it's known as the Golden Triangle.
So this is Harrogate. It's posh, lots of money, but it's got a problem. The problem is, average house price, £256,000. Average wage, more like 20 grand. Same problem lots of parts of the country have. And it's not just the house price, it's also who's got the space? Is it the people who need it? Because actually, in a way, this is the whole problem with the housing market. It doesn't work as a market should, to give the space to the people who need the space at the optimum price. Instead, the people who have the space are the older generation. 5-bedroom houses, only 2 of them there. The people who don't have the space are the younger generation, expanding families, cramped accommodation.
We've heard of a scheme in Harrogate which gets council tenants to swap houses according to their need. There's very little in the way of affordable housing in the town, so it's one way the council can try and meet demand.
Hello.
Hi.
Are you Tina?
I am Tina.
All right, Andy Verity.
Hi.
Hi, who are these two?
Tina Pycock and her family are benefiting from the special scheme which encourages people who have more space than they need to give it up for larger families.
OK, so just moved in.
Yeah.
You are a family who really needs this kind of property,
Yes.
aren't you?
Yes.
Whereas the people who moved out have got something smaller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how's it changed your life, having this extra space?
It's made it immensely huge difference. It has. It's fantastic. It's a home.
Yeah.
It's home.
Somewhere you can really call your own.
Yes.
Tina says she thinks the couple who made way for her didn't do it for a financial reason. She thinks they just understood.
They might have been in the same situation I was in when they first started out with their children. So I think they just looked at how their life was, thinking, well, there's only 1, maybe 2 adults in this house when the other tenants were in here.
So, in a way, this whole scheme relies on people recognising the needs of other people.
Yes, yeah, it's to do with communication and respect, I think, for people that do have larger families, that are in need of larger properties.
Seems quite obvious in a way, doesn't it? People who no longer need the space they have agree to give it up for someone who needs it a lot more. That's what local authorities are doing to try to solve this problem of under-occupation, where people are rattling around in big houses that they no longer fully occupy. The funny thing is, the same thing could be done in privately owned accommodation. And when house prices are high, it makes sense to downsize, sell your property and make it available for someone else who needs it.
George has sold up after riding the wave of more than a decade of house price inflation. He's on his way to his new place in Essex.
Now I've got butterflies in my stomach. You know, now the reality's hit me. Now I've got the keys in my hand. Because now means that I'll be here for I don't know how long. Will I like it? Will I hate it? Will I put the house back up for sale in 6 months' time? Now I'm nervous because I'm a resident here. Be all right. All right. Hey. Yeah. All right. We're in, boys. We're in. Hey. Looks better now. Oh, first time. Spot on. Get some air in this place. Lovely. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? It's nice. I've got a garden. I've got a garden.
Even after buying his new place, George has released more than 200 grand. What will he do with his money?
There's two ways I can go about this. I can have a good party life for about a year or two, maybe 3, 4, 5 years. A good party time. Or I could take that money and put it to good use.
Which way will George go? I'll be back to find out. Many people do seem to think they've done well financially out of rising property prices. But when you're trying to move up the ladder, it's no longer so clear. People here in Leeds seem to have given it some thought.
Hello, Roundhay Park. This is the BBC. We're bringing a programme to you, The Truth About Property. Have they made us rich? It's about what soaring house prices mean to you.
There's a lot of property on the market, but there isn't much actually selling. And all the estate agents are saying the same thing.
It should mean that when we sell our house, we have lots of lovely money, but that's not the reality of it.
What's your house gone from, and what is it worth now?
I bought 6 years ago at around 150.
The more I spoke to people, the more they confirmed that while the prices of their homes have risen, they haven't necessarily benefited.
Your ability. So even though your own house has nearly doubled in value, that hasn't made it any easier to move where you want to move.
Not if you want to move to an area as nice as this, no.
One woman's story particularly struck a chord. She and her husband are hard-working family people with aspirations they can't meet.
What have rising house prices meant for you then?
Oh, they're absolutely killing us. Absolutely killing us. It's a small house that we've got. It's only a 3-bed semi.
How much of your income, how much of a multiple have you had to borrow?
About 5 times.
5 times your income?
Yeah. Our mortgage, I think when we took our mortgage out, it was £170,000, our mortgage, which is a lot of money.
Yeah. What do you think of the fact that there are increasing numbers of people older in 5-bed houses? What do you think?
Well, if they can afford that, and that's fair enough, then if they want to swap, then give me a shout.
That gave us an idea. We might be able to organise a swap for Claire and her family. We went to see where Claire lives with her husband Jonathan and their 2 girls, Taylor and Kennedy.
Kennedy, you can have yours, John.
Hello.
Claire and Jonathan got on the ladder 6 years ago and feel they missed out on doing really well. Now all they find is it's impossible to move up to a bigger place because prices of large houses have risen more than their own.
Perfect. This is Kennedy's, my sister's. This is Marion.
And this is our bedroom here with very little storage space behind those big mirrors. There is a big chimney breast there, and Jonathan's not happy that he only has a tiny bit of space in the wardrobe, but he's a man anyway.
This is the kitchen.
Claire says she'd like to try living her dream of a bigger house. So we found someone with just the type of place Claire would like. Jackie Prescott lives in nearby Headingley with her 5-year-old daughter Daisy. She has a large 5-bedroom house and, she says, too much space. She's 10 years older than Claire and Jonathan and bought a whole 18 years earlier. She's really done well.
I've been really lucky. I've been really lucky because I've benefited from that 10-15 year period when house prices went up, and who knows what the future will hold, but I've got that advantage.
Often people who get bigger houses don't want to move anywhere smaller. Partly they get used to the space, and there can also be an emotional attachment. But Jackie says something smaller would suit her better.
I really don't need to rattle around in such a big house, and Daisy gets very, very lost. If I go into my office or go to the toilet, she sort of starts to panic and run around thinking, "Mum, where are you? Mum, where are you?"
Jackie's agreed to do a swap with Claire and try each other's houses out for size.
Hi there, you all right? Good.
You looking forward to this?
Yes, not bad. Do you want to take them? Yeah. It's the red one, thank you.
Enjoy.
Yes, you too.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Thank you, bye.
The house swap underway, I'm tracing back to the property moves my parents made. They bought a second home in the Yorkshire Dales. My dad was worried with his job we'd move house too much. He wanted a place we could call our own.
There's something that's so much more about property
than the price of it, or even the number of bedrooms. There's a sentimental attachment we have to property. It forms part of our lives. It forms an anchor for us. And especially the really special places. Everyone has a special place which is, in a way, at the core of their life. And I think our need to feel security, our need to feel stability, our need to feel emotionally anchored, if you like, all depends on having that sort of place, that sort of special place. Round here is what I would regard as my special place. I thought I might feel really emotional coming here, but the funny thing is, I'm just thinking what a beautiful spot it is, and how lovely it all is. That's it, right there. Came to it every 6 weeks when I was a kid. Oh, the door's open. Promising. Hello. In 1968, my parents bought it for just £999. It's just amazing seeing the place again. Understandably, the people who live there not quite so happy about being filmed, but that's fine. And seeing it again just makes me think, how lucky was I as a little boy to have this sort of place to go to? How lucky is anyone who's able to go to a second home? And really, it was only because it was the late 1960s that someone on my dad's salary was able to afford that. Someone on what he was earning then, the equivalent now, no way. You'd have to be rich. Looking around the house made me realise just how much my parents' average income allowed them. They could move up the ladder, even buy a second home, without feeling the strain. I earn far more at the same age and can buy more of almost everything except property. Back in Leeds, and the one-day house swap is underway. The Whiteheads are discovering Jackie Prescott's spacious 5-bedroom house.
This is big, isn't it?
And Jackie's seeing if she could live in the Whiteheads' more bijou property.
It's very tidy. Much tidier than mine. How would I feel using a small kitchen?
What an amazing kitchen is this? You could help in here, couldn't you?
That's just what I wanted. What about here? Now, I love that. I could work here. I could spend many a happy autumn or summer afternoon with my papers, my mobile, making calls, sorting things out. I'm feeling really, really content.
This is a big room, isn't it? This would definitely be Mummy and Daddy's room.
I'm used to huge bathrooms and...
Is there another floor? Another bathroom!
I have the most enormous bedroom. It's about 3 times this size. I have a walk-in wardrobe and I could literally do my dancing in there.
Oh!
It's fun for the families to do a swap for a day, but ultimately, for the Whiteheads, affordability will be the big stumbling block. But for today, they want to live their dream.
I could actually leave you all and hide in here.
Right, cut, let's go.
Although she enjoyed some elements of the house, Jackie had her reservations.
The garden space was ideal. The idea that the house flows straight into the garden it's like having an extra room, and it makes a small house much, much more doable. But I think I might actually not be able to manage quite such a small house. I think I might need a bit bigger one.
If Jackie was just thinking of her financial self-interest, she could make more of her asset by selling or just letting her place. But it's not just money she's thinking of, and that's one reason there aren't more big houses on the market. In Waltham Abbey, George Vasiliou has already made his move.
Oh, I think I can see him.
And I've come to see how he's doing.
Oh, very nice.
Hello! That smells good. You must have known that we were hungry before we turned up.
Yeah, it's a Jedi mind thing, you know. How you doing?
Good to see you again.
All right, lovely.
You look really
Excellent.
happy.
Yeah.
So how do you feel? How do you feel just about the whole move?
Spot on. I mean, I moved in. My mates came around the same night, and instantly it just feels you feel at home, and everything's a mess. You know, first night I slept like a baby. You know.
Do you think your dad's done the right thing?
Yeah, I like this house. It's nicer and it's just bigger as well.
George's daughter's happy, so he is too. But I was still curious to know what he was doing with his money.
Look, the money I got is to be used for a future.
Yeah,
but
it's your security, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to make it work. You can't just. It's not enough. That amount of money is not enough to sit down and say, yeah, I can, you know, do nothing for the rest of my life.
What's the sort of thing that appeals to you as an investment for the future?
Property.
More property?
Yeah.
But how's he going to set about that? You can invest in property, not just for yourself, but also as buy-to-let.
Lovely.
To let out or to sell, do you think?
I don't know, but I've got to talk to somebody. If I want a quick block of money, I suppose it's to buy it and then sell it quick to make a fast profit.
But if you want an income, that's buy-to-let, isn't it?
That's if you can afford to sit back and wait for that dribs and drabs to come in.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have to have probably 10 properties set, 5 to 10 properties to comfortably sit back and earn the income.
I purchased this one a couple of years ago. This property is one of my favourites. Talking about the figures, we've done quite well on this one. I love this house. It's already made nearly 90 grand.
Maxine Fothergill knows the value of her 27 buy-to-let properties. She's done well in just 7 years. She now has a property portfolio worth 4.2 million, and more than $1 million of that is equity. On paper, at least, she's become a property millionaire.
For the last few years, I've been working very closely with the local estate agents. And so I've built up a very good relationship. So I'm often told about properties of distressed sellers or maybe a failed sale. So because we've already got the equity within properties, we're able then to move in and hopefully go and buy something at below market value. To me,
but Maxine says property isn't quite the safe bet some people think it is.
Some of the television programmes, although they're very good, and I must admit I watch them, they do actually make it look so easy, and I'm afraid it's not. You know, it is very difficult. You have to plan your strategy. You have to look at that market, you know, what will happen, or the what-ifs, because if you don't do that, then there's been so many repossessions recently that, you know, this is what's happening to so many people, and I haven't really bought anything in the last couple of years.
So that was Maxine. Interesting lady. And one of the most interesting things about her, I thought, was the fact that if anyone should be positive about property, it should be her. She's built up a portfolio of 27 different buy-to-let properties. She's making money. She's borrowed £3 million. She's optimistic about the future, but she sees it as a long-term gain. She sees how you can lose money as well, how you can practically throw it away on a buy-to-let property. And she's very much saying it's not a question of overnight riches.
There are just under 1 million buy-to-let mortgages in the UK. Last year, more money was lent that way than ever before, and they make up 13% of all mortgages for house purchase. If you're wondering how to make money and you punch in the phrase property investment, this is what pops up. Lots of companies helping people to become wealthy through property. Close to the top of the list is a company called Inside Track that holds free seminars. So I decided to go along to one at a London hotel. Inside Track didn't want us to film the seminar, but did give me a promotional DVD.
This company and my association with it has changed my life immeasurably for the better.
It's a legitimate business that pushes its sales message hard within the rules. Inside Track itself has campaigned for stricter regulation. But in the meantime, I'm hearing some unusual investment advice.
I've learned a great many interesting things from that. Among other things, property doesn't go down in value.
It's just that you paid too much in the first place. You should never sell an investment property. And what's this obsession with paying off the mortgage? Property, by the way, a box. You pull the lever and the money drops out the other end.
Inside Track did say repeatedly that property prices can fall and said that would be one reason to pay for their advice. The company was happy for me to talk to an executive.
We grow on the back of the fact that people are very concerned about their retirement funds. They're very concerned about the state of the pensions industry. They currently don't trust advisors, and the reason they believe in direct investment into residential property is that they can touch it, feel it, sell it if they need to.
So property is their pension?
They're replacing what their current existing pensions are with part investment in residential property.
£12,995 is quite a lot of money to pay to enter the property market.
Yeah, our business has a number of businesses, and if we look at our educational business, which is a standalone 2-day seminar, plus a whole host of other educational seminars, including tax, about property planning, about refurbishment, that essentially has an off-the-shelf price of $3,995, which we discount on the day to $2,495. You then go along to our 2-day seminar, and you can buy membership of our property investment club for £6,495 on that day, which gives you the right to buy property. And now if you look at that...
But you have that right already, everyone has that right.
To buy the property through us, through our negotiated discounts and through our ability to exclusively contract with developers.
That's what Inside Track seem to be really selling. It's partly information and mortgage broking, but the big draw seems to be the chance to buy a property for less than its market value. Some of the properties they have offered are in Leeds. Michael Hall from the Leeds Tenants Federation is proud of his town, which has prospered, particularly in the last 5 years. More and more city centre flats have gone up, but he's not sure these developments are what local people want.
There's been a recent housing market research done which shows that Leeds needs something like 2,000 new affordable homes every year. And we continue to build 80% unaffordable.
Beautiful flats everywhere overlooking the waterfront. Isn't this what Leeds needs?
What evidence has shown is that it needs more affordable homes to buy, and it also needs more affordable homes to rent. It needs a more balanced approach to the housing crisis that we've got in Leeds. Evidence says, and we've been shouting it from the rooftops for years, that we need more family homes.
When the Docklands went up in London, they used to talk about yuppie flats.
Mm-hmm.
You almost seem to be saying they're building yuppie flats when really they should be building family houses.
I think they're building the slums of the future.
We wanted to do our own research into newly built city centre flats, and what we uncovered was unexpected.
This is Aspect 14, which is described on the website that advertises to potential investors as high-quality, affordable city centre living. But I wonder how many of you could afford to lose tens of thousands of pounds. We've done some research which shows that of the last 9 sales on this property, many of them made big losses. I'm not talking about modest amounts. Here's what we found out about some of these flat prices. Number 22, bought in October 2003, £202,000. Sold September last year, 125. That's a loss of £77,500 in just 3 years. Next bit of research, up there, flat number 260, sold for £189,000 in March 2004, and sold again in November last year for £131,000. That's a loss of just under £58,000 in 2.5 years. That's not the worst of it. Flat number 194, according to our research, 3 years ago, bought for £220,000. 18 months ago, sold for £135,000. That's an eye-watering loss of £85,000 in just 18 months.
We found evidence of other newly built flats in Leeds falling in price, and also in other places, including Manchester and Birmingham. At the seminar I'd been to, Inside Track promoted a development called City Island in Leeds, saying it could provide £27,000 instant equity.
You supply properties to your clients and investors from developers in Leeds?
Yes, we have in the past, yeah.
Do all of those properties rise in value?
We are, like any market, we look at all markets, and Leeds is, an interesting example about where there looks like there's an oversupply. But you've also got to look about...
Is there?
If there's an oversupply currently in the Leeds market, yes, I believe there is. But if you look at the demographics of Leeds, that most of the flats that come onto the market in Leeds let very quickly. So that means there's high demands in rental. Is there the same rising demand in respect of owner-occupier? Probably not.
From land registry data, we've identified a development called City Island in Leeds. You promote some of the property there, and we've got evidence of substantial price falls. Now, that's not a message you'd necessarily speak too loudly to your investors about.
Listen, we were involved in City Island. City Island is a fantastic scheme. If you look at City Island itself, it's won a number of major awards.
Not a great investment, though.
It rents well. The rental coverage is high with respect to the mortgage payment. So in the medium to long term, it'll be absolutely fine investment. Do I believe people have sold some of their units? Yes, they have. And I know that they've sold them below some of the prices that we marketed them at.
On new build flats and other buy-to-lets, a lot of people have made big investment gains. George would like to invest, but he's not looking at new city centre developments. Maxine's taking him to see properties in Gravesend in Kent.
So this gives you an idea of the older style properties. There's plenty of these in Gravesend. What are you doing?
I'm just having a look. Look inside here, see what we got. It's got a fireplace in there, laminated, nice and clean. Looks lovely for like a first-time buy. It looks quite nice.
She shows George properties on sale below market value. Potentially, he could flog them and make a profit.
Done some work here, and
how much is this up for?
This is up for 160, but market value in this same road is around about 165, so slightly below market. Whether they'd be prepared to negotiate on price, you know, that I wouldn't know until...
The pair look at a number of other properties and discuss George's options.
Would you like to have a look at those?
I'd love to have a look.
OK, let's go.
After you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do your figures stack up? You know, you talked about you've got that pool of money there, but are the figures actually going to work out? You've got to allow for the mortgage, and then you've got to allow for any other costs as well. You can't go and just buy a property and expect it to look after itself. It's a bit like buying a dog.
Well, it's more like a relationship. You've got to take care of it.
Yeah. My honest advice to you would be to think about a strategy, a long-term strategy, at least 7 years. Don't think about buying and just flipping. You've done well on your own home, but if you try to do that with investment properties, it's very difficult. It's far better to hang on.
It's just that my worry is I buy a property, I fix it and I rent it. Where's the rest of my money coming from to buy another property?
OK.
This is...
Right, OK.
Why I'm here.
That's, it's buying smart, really, buying the right place.
Thank you.
George hears if he buys a property below market value, he can let it out and the rent will cover the mortgage. Then, as it goes up in value, he can use that equity as deposit to buy another, and then another.
I understand what Maxine was saying, how by the time you've bought it and paid all your taxes, your legal fees, your surveyor's fees, your estate agent's fees, you need to hold on to that property for a certain amount of time to accumulate equity. And I'm like, talk about bursting bubbles. You know.
He's chewing it over, but will he leave it or take a deep breath and buy?
There we go.
I wanted to know more about companies that run property investment clubs. I met John, who'd bought 3 new build apartments and ended up in serious financial difficulties. He's asked us to conceal his identity and that of the investment club he joined.
When the properties are given to you to make a decision, they're given to all the members of the club at the same time. And I don't know how many members of the club there are, potentially hundreds. And normally in a release, there's 10 to 30 properties. Therefore, the actual time slot to make a decision whether you're going to buy a property or not is very short, usually around half an hour.
So you're under pressure to decide whether or not to buy?
Yeah, you need to make a decision on buying a property between £150,000 and £250,000 within half an hour.
That must make you nervous.
It does make you nervous, which is why you have to trust their guidance.
Should you trust their guidance?
I did at the time. Obviously, I've lived to regret that. The properties have been overvalued, both in terms of purchase price and rental valuations.
John claims his properties were overvalued and he's now in £50,000 of negative equity.
How much money did you pay to these people who you trusted at first?
Well, each property has got a finder's fee, which is 2.5% plus VAT. So in total, I've paid in fees about £25,000 on 3 properties. On top of that, I have obviously paid other fees, legal fees, deposit fees, etc. So my total investment is around £50,000 to £60,000, which is a lot of money. However, that would have been well invested if I had some equity to show for it. But I just have negative equity, no actual equity.
John can't let all his flats, and he's getting a third less in rent than he needs to cover the mortgage, so he's borrowing more money. The strain's beginning to take its toll.
Getting into negative equity doesn't just affect your finances, does it?
No, it affects your personal well-being as well. It can lead to depression, stress, problems at work, problems at home as well. Feelings of anger, feelings of irresponsibility, inadequacy. Obviously, you know, when you have a wife and a family, you want to bring them up and make investments which are correct and pay dividends for you and your family. If you make those decisions and they turn out incorrect, it makes you feel like you've let down your family as well as yourself.
John took a risk and it hasn't paid off. He faces an uncertain future as he tries to deal with the increasing mountain of debt. As ever, the key to making money in property is to understand the market. There have been warnings from the International Monetary Fund that British property is overvalued. Nathan McLean and his wife Judith aren't alone in looking at house prices and thinking, I'd rather stay here and get more space some other way. They've built a large extension on their home and turned a 2-bed house into a 4-bed.
Hello. Nathan?
Yeah, hi.
All right, nice to meet you. Andy Verity, hello.
I'll give you a quick tour of this if you want.
Yeah, all right, that'd be nice.
We thought if we have children and we start having friends over to stay, we'd be struggling for space.
Yeah.
So we thought we needed extra bedroom space and living space, really.
Yeah, a proper family house like the one you grew up in, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we did actually look at moving, but it was more cost-effective to basically to have an extension. I'll lead you up. We'll go and do the old part first, and then we'll move on to the extension.
Right.
We've got the master bedroom here.
Yeah,
which, fair enough, it's a good size for us.
Nathan showed me the original main bedroom and the spare.
2 rooms, you know. Did you think, though, instead of extending the place, of buying a place?
We then saw the extra bedrooms he'd had built on the other side of the house.
Extend.
What were you thinking of for this room?
This is ideal for, like a nursery, we were thinking.
Yeah.
Just go through that door in front of you, Andy.
Right. You've done this up very nicely, too.
Thank you. This is our 3rd bedroom. The natural progression thing is go from nursery to a single bedroom for a child.
Perfect. Tell me about the work you've had done.
Right, as you can see, obviously on the front of the building you can see what the new part of it is.
Yeah, it's different colour stone, obviously.
Yeah.
So what about the money? Because you did look quite hard at the implications of buying a house against extending your house.
Yeah. We did actually see a house in the local area that we liked, but when we put the figures down on paper, I think it worked out quite a lot cheaper to extend.
So sort of concentrate resources on one
They
area.
bought the place 7 years ago for $44,000. The extension cost another $65,000, and recently an estate agent told them its new value is 230 grand.
The market was sort of pricing you out from making the next step up the ladder to a bigger place, so you found your own solution here, I guess.
Yeah.
And are you pleased with how it's worked out?
Yeah, very pleased.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we've got what we want to start a family. We've got the space we need, the living space. It's perfect.
We haven't got the hassle of moving as well, you know, because that can be quite stressful. Although the extension was stressful, but I think moving could have tipped the balance, I think.
Yeah.
If your equity goes up by more than you invest in home improvement, then you've definitely made paper profits. Like any investment, the payback depends on what happens to prices. Hang on a sec. Who's this? Someone's been splashing the cash around. George Vasiliou. But what I want to know is, has he bought those investment properties?
George, how you doing?
Andy, how you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm not doing as well as you by the looks of it. Can I hop in?
Yeah, sure, jump in, mate. Oh. How you keeping, all right?
Yeah, very well.
Good man.
Very well. George's is such a nice car.
It is. It is. I mean, what can I say? It is, you know what I mean? I love it.
It's brilliant, but how much did you spend on it?
No, it's 14,000.
You told me that you weren't going to spend any money.
No. What I said was that there's an allocated amount of money for me to have some fun with.
I see. You never told me. How much is that then?
It was about 25 grand, and it's, you know, something that I have always wanted.
George tells me he's also making some serious investment. He's had offers accepted on 2 buy-to-let properties in Gravesend.
You have to build up a big portfolio so you've got enough coming in on a monthly basis to support or help buy other properties.
But what if prices came down? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, if prices did come down, even on these properties, the price that I bought them at is well under the market value. And even if they were to drop by 20, 30 grand, I'm still under the market value that I've bought them at.
So the plan is to make this your job. You've got these new properties, you make them nice, you let them out, and then you can make money.
I hope so. You know, I mean, everyone else is doing it.
Well, that's the thing. I worry that because everyone else is doing it, that's why it might not work. How much money are you keeping back for a rainy day? Because you said to me before that some of it might turn into your pension.
The houses that I own, really. The properties that I own, they're my pension. I'll just flog them all, get my money.
And you're happy with what you're doing?
Yeah. I mean, look, you're only going to find out if you try it, you know? And I'm trying it.
Okay.
You know, see what happens, see where we go.
Good luck to you, George.
Thank you very much,
Show
Andy.
me what this thing can do, then.
Well, all right. Do you want to go for a little...
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Our poll suggests a majority of people are counting on property to at least help cover the costs of their retirement. Interestingly, 53% also felt their money was safer in property than in a bank. While property does tend to return more in the long term, in the short term, your capital is at risk. It was time for me to revisit the family house I lived in before I flew the nest. It's in Barnet, North London. My parents bought the property in the early 70s. They weren't on a huge wage. My mum was a physio, my father a writer, but they managed to buy a house in this affluent area.
I was here from the age of 5 through to the age of 18, so it's got a lot of memories. My school's just up the road. Friends still live around here. I haven't been back here because at 18 I really wanted to leave, so I'll be interested to see what it's like.
The house cost them around £25,000 and it's now worth about $700,000.
Doesn't look like anyone's in.
Our transactions in the housing market aren't just financial. They record the great turning points of our lives. Growing up and growing old, marriage and divorce, aspiration and disappointment, heartbreak and hope. Maurice Clegg is at just such a turning point. He's selling his £3 million house and moving closer to his family.
3 weeks to go. And we've quite a lot to do between now and then, but we'll also be getting quite a lot of help. Can't say happy, we've made so many good friends here, and don't really rejoice in the idea of leaving them all behind, but then hopefully we shall make new friends.
But how many of us plan to take Maurice's route, downsizing? According to our poll, it's only 1 in 5. And downsizing is the only clear way to realise your winnings, as Maurice knows.
It's a clever man that gets in at the bottom and out at the top, but that's got to be your aim. I would certainly not, I think, be buying property at the moment. But at other times, it's been, over a longer period, it's been a very good investment indeed.
Maurice is aware that luck and timing have played their part for him too.
Right now, I should think the property market for the next generation is just pretty difficult. And I think for many, many cases, parents are going to have to help out. They have done, if they've been on the property ladder themselves, they've done really quite well. So they've probably got a certain amount they can do to help. For people who haven't got that support, intensely difficult. And either house prices have got to fall or earnings have got to rise to the point where it becomes possible again.
What if prices do fall? Well, just as many of us feel we've done better out of price rises than we actually have, so many of us fear a crash more than we need to. If prices drop, the winners and losers swap places. And for those who want to climb the ladder, it creates an opportunity to buy. It's the end of the house swap in Leeds. Jackie wants her keys back, but Claire and Jonathan are reluctant to give up their newfound space.
Yeah, do you want the keys back?
Yes, keys, there you go.
Cheers, thank you.
Okay, are you sure?
We're having a party on the 29th of September,
okay,
so you can come and live in the wardrobe then.
Yeah, we'll be fine. It's bigger than our place.
I really wouldn't want to be starting on the housing market at the moment. We're very lucky to get to where we are at the moment. And just hopefully, if it doesn't keep going crazy, we may be able to move up. Did you like the house? No! Did you like the house? No!
But what about George, the would-be property investor? The offers he's made on 2 properties have fallen through, and he's lost £1,000 with fees for lawyers and surveyors. But he's not letting that or the change in the market put him off. He's taken the hit and still looking for other properties to invest in.
We're going to an auction on the 23rd, I think, of this month. And it's my first auction, so that should be fun.
Since we filmed with the buy-to-let landlady Maxine, she's completed on 2 more properties, further expanding her business. Economists acknowledge no one knows where house prices are going. If they did, they would get rich. Because science hasn't yet worked out exactly how we make decisions, economists have to assume what counts is both financial and rational. But that doesn't take account of our emotions. That doesn't mean we're irrational, just human. In our decisions about property, we're creatures of appetite, but also creatures of feeling. Next week on The Truth About Property, how do we solve the housing crisis? Is there an alternative to overstretching yourself for something like this?
So as you can see, it still needs a little bit of work.
What happened here? That's done. Some excuse for a bedroom.
Look at this. He can touch both walls at once. I'll be exploring the housing battleground and finding out why development takes so long. When did he first have the idea of building here?
We bought the site in 1992. This was...
1992?
Yeah, that's right.
And meeting people who think they found a solution by building their own home. Is it that simple?
She has deliberately flouted the planning rules.
I bought that land. I can stay on my land from light to dark, and none of you can stop me.